Hello, fellow YouTubers. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top cities in the US that suck the most. Salt Lake City is number one, tied with number one. Tied with Salt Lake City is well, it's kind of like Lexington, Nicholasville, and Wilmore, Kentucky. Wilmore, Kentucky is where the Asbury Holy Spirit revival happened, which is all fake, if you ask me. And I'm sure others would definitely agree. Okay, so now I seen this adult video of this hitchhiker that got picked up by a woman in her van, and they stop by the side of the road and they start doing it on the side of the road. And when they get done, she gets back in her van, tosses out the window his luggage, and has this evil smirk on her face and does this evil wave to him. And in Kentucky, in those regions I mentioned, and in Salt Lake City, people have done that numerous times. And just like that psychological BS goes, you want to be nice to people, but when they keep on doing you wrong over and over again, eventually, I mean, I'm not just talking about, I gave them more than just 2 chances, and they kept on trying to see how far they could push me. Okay, and the state of Oregon, which is my number 2 favorite state, my number 1 favorite state is New Hampshire. Not any single time has anyone done that disrespectful wave that has come from Oregon. Same with Massachusetts. Oregon, neither any city in that state of Oregon, neither the state of Oregon, is at the top of the list to have the most Ashley Madison accounts. Oregon or any city in that state is not on the top of the list of Ashley Madison accounts. Okay, not one single time have I ever seen anybody from any of those 2 states do that disrespectful wave, ever. Okay, so now when Betty Jean Eady knows that the slightest thing anyone does can affect the world for better or worse, and when you've done as much traveling as I've done, I've been traveling here and there for 22 years. I've been to every single state except for Hawaii. And when I get paid on the 3rd, I'm either going to get paid on Friday or the 3rd. When I get paid in a few days, because I'm in a little bit of legal trouble right now, but they have not decided whether or not they want to put me on probation or not. So I'm not under probation right now. I'm not under any form of probation right now. they haven't made that decision yet. So I can go wherever I want to go until they make that decision. I have to go to court next on the 12th. And so when I get paid in a few days, I am going to Hawaii. And who listening right now has the time, the will, who has what it takes to have traveled as much as I've traveled? Okay, that one song, I've been everywhere, man. Most of the cities he mentions in the U.S. I have been to. And I think there's another song that sings about traveling in the U.S. Most of the cities he sings about, I've been to as well. Okay, so when Betty Jean Edie realizes, as much as I do, the slightest thing anyone does can affect the world for better or worse, and as much traveling as I've done, I know my comments carry a tremendous amount of weight behind them. I would never represent for Salt Lake City, any city in Kentucky, Washington, California, Montana, Indiana, Connecticut, Iowa, South Carolina, all the states in the South are, those people are, I think there's a reason why they call the South the dirty South, because those people are not friendly. Usually not that friendly. Sometimes they are, sometimes, most of the time they're not. But yeah, it's really, New Hampshire is my favorite state, number one. Number two is Oregon. I will give points to Massachusetts, and I'll give my props up to them, and I'll give props up to Oregon. Oregon and Massachusetts are really the only two states that I've ever been to where they do not glorify the police. I've been around within those blocks numerous times. In Massachusetts, there's not one single time I've ever had any run-in with any law enforcement officer ever. In Oregon, I've had one single run-in with a authority figure, and he was not even a police officer. He was a state trooper, and this was when I was hitchhiking, and I could see him coming my way. And when he pulled over the side of the road, when he came my way, I dropped down my hand and my thumb, and he pulls over to the side of the road. He starts to talk to me, and he says, "Where are you going?" And I didn't want to be specific, something that you do to thwart nosy people. And I told him, I'm going east. And he was like, "Well, how are you going to get there? Are you going to hitchhike?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, he said something to the effect of, "Good luck," or "Have a good one," and or "Good luck." And then he went on his merry little way. And now I've met good cops, I've met bad cops, okay? I've met some blatantly rude cops, and I've met police officers and authority figures that had this demeanor as if to convey to me that I'm a sad person. Now here in Salt Lake City, when I was locked up here, I found a book, I discovered a book called Nothing to Lose. And it says in this one quote, in so many words, people that belittle others are little themselves. So people that belittle others, people that convey to others that they're sad people, they're projecting how they are, that they're little people and they're sad, okay? Because that state trooper I met in Oregon, he conveyed to me a great sense of awe and adventure. And so we will give our props up to Oregon and Massachusetts for that. But anyways, Salt Lake City and Utah, which is at the top of the list. Salt Lake City is ranked number 4 to have the most actually medicine accounts. They're cheating whores, and Kentucky too, okay? So that's my video of worst cities and states in the U.S. Bye for now. Until next time.